The 21st century, the beginning of a new era. We stand at the threshold of a time filled with rapid change, uncertainty, and monumental possibilities. Visionaries have pointed to this time as a turning point for humanity. One such man was the American clairvoyant Edgar Cayce. From holistic healing to spiritual development, the world that Edgar Cayce predicted is now emerging, inviting us to explore the new millennium.
What happens when we die? No mystery has perplexed humanity more than this ancient riddle. Almost every religion and philosophy has something to say about the question. And in recent decades, even scientific investigation has made its contribution to this vital question. Modern hospital resuscitation methods have made near-death experiences more commonplace. Those who have gone to the edge of physical death and then come back have remarkably similar stories to tell. I'm Mark Thurston. I'm joined today by Dr. George Ritchie, psychiatrist and author. Welcome to the program, George.
Good being here with you.
Death is surely the greatest mystery. Is there any reason to believe we could know anything about it before we die?
Mark, I think the evidence today in any family who's seen a loved one die, work of Dr. Stevenson, Dr. Ryan, all of these today is almost overwhelming evidence to the survival of life after death.
So if we look at parapsychology and look at just personal experiences, it's almost undeniable.
Right.
What's the range that you've seen as a psychiatrist of different beliefs that people hold about death and dying?
Well, strangely enough, probably the most widespread is still that of your Jewish belief almost, that there's nothing after life, that death is in. Then the next oversimplification is that you either go to heaven or you go to hell. Then there are the vast difference that the different religions teach. All of them have a little different slant on it. And then death is simply a doorway to another life or another state of consciousness. I like to think of death as the same as birth. Birth is a doorway from coming from somewhere else here. Death is a doorway leaving here to go to somewhere else.
Well, we want to explore this doorway idea a little bit. You had a remarkable experience where you were pronounced dead and then brought back. It's documented in your book, Return from Tomorrow, but tell us a few of the highlights of your story.
Well, I would say the most important thing is that first off I had a chance to meet the Christ in person and to be conducted through 4 different realms of life after death by him, which was so foreign to my regular Protestant belief that you either go to heaven or hell. That changed. Second most important thing, to realize that he was for all people, regardless of race, creed, or color. The third most important thing I would say is to come to realize that this is just one classroom in the University of Life that we're in now. And that our ultimate destiny is to continue to grow through eons of times until we get like him.
Are you a changed person today, 50 years later, from having had that experience?
If you don't believe it, ask my wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your loved ones and family members would know for sure.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What can somebody who's never been through a near-death experience learn or benefit from just hearing stories of others who've had them?
Mark, I think this is probably one of the most important questions you could ask, particularly on the program that you all just had here on drugs and teenagers. I would say one of the most important things we can get across to our youth today, that we can start any habit, but the habits we don't break while we're here in this realm continue. They don't drop off us just because we die. And I think if youth could begin to understand this, you can pick any thrill you want. You can't pick the kick ill. You can pick any kick, you can't pick the kick back. So it behooves us to get across to our youth now, even more important, that when they get into these drugs, because I saw enough of this on the other side of what happens to people who into drugs, into alcohol, who have not broken this.
During your near-death experience,
Yes.
You could see these people.
Yes. And I saw, for instance, when I was 20 years of age, we didn't have the drug problem, but we did have the alcoholic problem. These disincarnate entities were still trying to get back into human beings to vicariously experience what it was like to be drunk again.
Does the same thing happen with suicides? People are suicide victims?
Now, that's another entirely different thing. Let me say to you as a psychiatrist, I'm not talking about suicide that comes with people who are out of touch with reality, such as schizophrenia, psychotic depression, things of this nature. But those people who kill themselves on the basis opposite to homicide, if I can't kill you, I'll kill me to get even with you. These people become earthbound to the very people that they're trying to hurt until they realize what a grave mistake they made.
Right. All this seems to suggest there's so much more to life than we realize, doesn't it?
So much so that I'm not sure we really learn what to live for until we learn what to die for.
So the connection between death and life is just so critical, isn't it?
Right. And never has there been an age when we've had a chance, with overwhelming evidence, coming through such institutions as yours, Mr. Cayce in all of his research, Dr. Ian Stevenson in his research, IANDS, International Association for Near-Death Studies.
We'll be coming back to talk about those in just a little bit. It's only natural to wonder about our own death and what we can expect to experience. That sense of uncertainty is a common bond for all humanity, and it even links us to our ancestors over thousands of years. Each time period and culture has wrestled with the mystery in its own way.